Hey everyone, I had a request to do another core video, so we will be doing about 15 minutes of abdominal and back work to help support our regular yoga practice and our activities of daily living. And you don't need anything special. You don't even need a yoga mat. You just want to make sure you've got some sort of cushion underneath you so that you don't aggravate any spine issues. And of course, you only participate in this if you know that it is safe to do so. You always stop if you're feeling unwell and always seek medical attention and approval before participating in any exercise program. So before I did this video, I did a 5-minute warm-up on the elliptical. I really suggest that you do a 5-minute warm-up as well. So that might be jogging on the spot, might be walking around your yard. If you have a piece of cardio equipment at home, maybe hop on that before you start this video just to warm up your muscles a little bit and get your heart rate going just a little bit for 5 minutes. Do what you can and maybe play it again and again and see how your progress goes throughout this video. So moving from your hands and your knees into plank, and then we'll be transitioning back and forth from downward facing dog to plank. Go. Make sure your abdominals stay turned on, hugging your navel in towards your spine, but not obstructing your breathing. Continue to ensure that your ears don't surpass the inner edges of your arms, and keeping those kneecaps lifted, keeping everything strong and stable as you slowly move forward and back. Make sure your fingers stay rooted to the ground. We're coming up on 30 seconds. Way to go. Continue, take a break if necessary. Breathing and coordinating the breath with the movement. Exhaling as the hips come up and back. Keeping the abdominals stable throughout this sequence. Continuing, you're doing a great job. Remember, it's more important to move slowly and methodically with consistency to form than it is to go quickly. Coming up on 60 seconds. You can do it. Excellent. Way to go. That's 60 seconds. Allow your knees to come down and rest in child's pose. Maybe wrap your arms around your low back or on the ground. Find your breath. Make sure you start to regulate it. Remember, at any time, take a break and join in again. We're going to begin to prepare for our next movement. So we're coming into a forearm plank. So coming with your elbows right underneath your shoulders. You can keep your forearms parallel. You'll notice that halfway through, I will interlace my fingers. I find that also a nice option. Make sure your hips are not surpassing your shoulders. Continuing here, hugging the belly in here, making that nice long plank, engaging the quadriceps, pressing through the heels, pressing the floor away with the hands and the elbows. Option to drop one knee down to the ground or both. Continue to ensure that you're kind of bringing your upper rib cage towards the sky. Keep that breath fluid. You've reached 30 seconds. Keep on going. You've got this. You've got it. Breathing, smiling. Navel drawing back up into the back body. Strong. Maybe interlace your fingers if you haven't. See which one feels better for your shoulders. You're getting there. You're almost there. You're almost there. You're almost there. Keep pressing through the heels, reaching through the crown. Strong through the legs, strong through your abdominals. You've got it. You've got it. And that is 60 seconds. Way to go. Feel free to lower your knees, drop down once again into child's pose, hips coming towards your heels. Take a 30-second rest here. Regulating your breathing. And that rest is just about done. Next, we're coming up to abdominal crunches. So I'll have you roll over onto your back and we'll do alternate leg abdominal crunches, ensuring here that you can have your hands behind your head. We're going to be rotating one shoulder towards opposite knee. So focusing more on those oblique muscles. And if extending your legs close to the ground causes your back to overarch, you can always let your legs reach a little bit higher up to the sky or reduce your movement. Continue alternating here, ensuring that you keep your abdominals stable, keep your form consistent, keep your breathing regulated. breathing. We're coming up here on 30 seconds. There's an option, a modification to take it, those legs in a different angle. 30 seconds. You've got 30 seconds to go. Breathing, moving, keeping, ensuring you're not pressing your belly towards the sky. Keep hugging it towards the earth, keeping the back of the rib cage connected to the ground. Remember, more important to move with consistency, with better form. Do less. Less is sometimes more, as long as you're focusing and targeting and stabilizing those muscles. You're almost coming up on your 60 seconds here. You've got this. Excellent. You're almost there. Nice and controlled. Nice and controlled. Squeeze both knees in and release down. Excellent work. 30-second rest. Maybe hugging one knee into a chest at the time. Maybe hugging in both. Whatever feels right for you here for your brief rest before we move on to our next movement. Next movement will be a side plank. So it doesn't matter which side you come onto, but prepare, get ready and set, rolling over onto your side. I'm going to show a few options. You can stack one foot in front of the other. This is a modification. Begin right now. Another modification is to lower and do this from one hip on the ground. It's to lower your knees. You can do that. You can stack the inner edges of your feet. So here's another modification, knees bent. That reduces some of the challenge here. If that's an option that's for you, feel free to take that option. The third option is stacking the inner edges of your legs and finding that rotation as you weave one arm under. That's 30 seconds. Again, nice and controlled, targeting those obliques. So if you feel another option, one knee on the ground, lengthening one leg out to the side. Breathing here. I particularly find this one challenging. Make sure, of course, that elbow stays right underneath the shoulder and you're pressing that forearm down into the ground. You might want to modify it again, option it up so that you're not completely stopping, creating some variations. That's 60 seconds. You did it. Take a brief break, roll over onto your back, find and regulate your breathing. Little smile on your face never hurts either. Let's go over to the other side. Flip over. Set your elbow up underneath the shoulder and find your variation. Maybe you started with one foot forward. Maybe you started with your knees bent. Wherever you were, please begin and take those variations as necessary. Inhaling as the arm reaches up, exhaling as you look and roll that other arm underneath. Here's another option. Remember, stacking your knees. Exhaling on that rotation. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, rotate, twist. Keep everything nice and stable, nice and controlled. You can always stack the inner edges of your legs as well. Breathing here, that's 30 seconds. I know sometimes some of these seem longer. I did use a timer. That little red thing that you see beside me is a timer. Interestingly enough, I couldn't find my timer, so that is from the categories game. We get resourceful. We're almost there. I'm distracting you here a little bit. Breathing, 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 moving, moving, moving. That's 60 seconds. Excellent work. And lay down. Lay down for a 30-second rest. Next thing up is a forearm plank, and will be either, you got a couple of options. You'll see me walk my hands and my feet side to side or just my feet. So there's one option, kind of walking across your floor a little bit, ensuring again that the hips don't drop below the shoulders. So this is option one. Option two is moving your feet side to side, alternating feet, keeping everything stable. So you're going to choose, maybe you'll do a little bit of both. Maybe you'll toe tap one to the other. Yeah, lots of options. Just keep moving, keep stable through the core. Continue to use the support of your hands, pressing away from the earth, continuing to ensure that your shoulder blades aren't wrapping up and drooping down. So you don't want to be drooping down in between those shoulder blades. Notice how my back stays nice and stable. Here's another option, coming down onto your forearms as we tap the foot side to side. Beautiful. And that's 60 seconds. Draw the hips back down towards your heels. Take a 30-second break. Next up, we'll be coming onto our belly. I call this flying. So come down onto your belly, lower all the way down. You've got a few options here and I'll demonstrate those as well. So I'd like you to engage your glutes first and foremost. Pull the navel up towards the spine and then begin to lift your feet, taking them no wider than your hips and maybe even bringing a little bit of adduction, so drawing them perhaps a little closer to center line, continuing to ensure those glutes are active. If this aggravates your shoulders in this flexion movement, maybe your shoulders need a break, you could always stack your hands underneath your forehead. Continue to keep the action in the glutes here. Action in the glutes and the spinal extension, building our back strength. Another option is to take those arms out to the side like you're flying, lifting those hands, making sure they stay at about shoulder height, keeping that neck in a natural extension of the spine so it's not dropping down nor is it overarching. Continuing to keep those muscles activated. You're flying here. Maybe swimming is another option, nice and smooth. You'll find that this is a whole other sensation, very fluidly here, noticing the strength that you're building here. Breathing here. I didn't give you a 30-second count on this one. We're actually staying in this one just a little bit longer. This was 60 seconds and you can keep going. Of course, break if you need to, but if you're feeling just on this side of the edge of fatigue and you think you can do it, hold it and breathe here. Squeeze those glutes, part of our core. Maybe the elbows come out like goalposts. Maybe squeeze the shoulder blades towards each other. Squeeze and activate those inner thighs. Squeeze the glutes. Breathe. You've got this. You're doing excellent. Our back strength is important. Another option, last option, stretch your fingers towards your ankles, hug those arms in close, flying. You are flying. You have got this. You have got this. This is a variation with yoga. We call this Shalambhasana, a variation. You've got it. Breathe and extend the arms forward one more time. And way to go. That was 2 minutes. Please rest. Feel free to bend those knees and gently let those feet sway side to side. Coming back into child's pose, and then we'll be rolling over onto your back after child's pose. So just briefly in child's pose, and then please come over onto your backs, and we'll prepare for bridge pose with the heels stacked underneath the knees. Bring my timer once again. Keeping those knees no wider than your hips. I'm using a block just to prevent my knees from splaying open. You definitely don't want those knees splaying open because I am going to ask you to utilize your glutes here. And then also isometrically, like so you're trying to both pull the knees apart and squeeze them together. So you're going to feel that really engage. Press those heels down into the floor. Lifting the hips, engaging the glutes. Breathing here, make sure the back of the neck is free. This is a very active bridge pose. Arms pressing down into the ground, feet parallel, squeezing the block or keeping that isometric contraction between your legs. Another option here, you'll feel your abdominals engage a little differently, is bend your elbows, make gentle fists or point your fingers to the sky. Remember, those arms are hugging in. They would just be outside of your rib cage. Breathing here, pressing down through the backs of the arms, squeezing through the glutes, finding breath. You can see my belly gently rising and falling. That's excellent. That's 60 seconds. Continue if you can. Find new limits. I'm gently looking side to side just to check out the time and make sure the camera's still working, but of course you keep your head in a neutral position. You've got this. We're really using those quadriceps, using the hamstrings, using the glutes, feeling that support all through the back, opening through the hips. You will feel this, and you have got this. You have got this. Very active here. Muscles might start to feel a little fatigued. That's okay. As you may have guessed, this is a 2-minute hold. Some of these postures vary from 1 minute to 60 seconds, sorry, 60 seconds to 90 seconds to 2 minutes. We're coming up on that 2-minute mark. Way to go. That's 2 minutes. You can slowly release down. Excellent. Remove the block if it's there. Hug one knee and then the other into the chest. So knees into the chest. Take a brief rest. Next up, we'll be extending our feet up to the sky. We have a couple of options here as well. I want to make sure that you focus on keeping the rib cage connected to the earth, hollowing out your belly, scooping out your navel. Let your fingers reach up to the ceiling, palms facing in. And there are a couple of other options. If you have a block, you can hold that with your legs. That just adds a little bit more to this. And you also have the option to elevate your shoulders and your head off of the ground. You can even pulse here if you like. So you've got a couple of variations. You can keep the upper body on the ground. But you don't want this to be pulling your low back. Let the focus here be on strengthening through the front of your abdomen. Breathing here. Looking towards the fingertips or looking towards the toes. Your neck is getting sore. You can place your fingertips behind your head, keeping the elbows out nice and wide. Continuing to keep the abdominal muscles hollowing out. You can even do a little bit of pulsing here. You can pulse with your upper body or you can pulse with your lower body, or you can do both. So make this suitable for you. Ensuring that, again, that you're not pressing your belly out towards the ceiling, keeping it nice and strong. Nice and strong. Coming up on our 60 seconds here. That's it, 60 seconds. You can use one hand or alternate hands. Always like to give lots of options. So as you've guessed, this one's longer than 60 seconds. Keep that strength in the abdominals. Keep those legs actively reaching up. Maybe adding a few more pulses in here. Few more pulses. Exhaling as you lift, squeeze, pulse. Yeah, you got it. Excellent work. 90 seconds. You have done a fantastic job. And when you're ready, release your feet down to the ground. Feel free to remove your shoes. We are done the hard work here. Inviting you to enjoy some gentle stretching with me, starting with some spinal twists, letting those knees gently rock side to side. Gently exhaling knees to one side, inhaling center and exhaling to the other. Feel that release in the abdominals, the glutes, the hips. Feel free to stack your knees or perhaps cross one leg over the other. Stay for about 5 breaths. Coming back to center. Inhale and exhale, knees over to the other side. Release that, come back to center. Coming into figure 4. Placing one foot on the other thigh and drawing that knee into the chest. Stretch out your glutes. Again, just 4 or 5 breaths. Maybe reaching your heel to the sky. Release down, switch sides, please. And a couple more breaths. Release that down. One more spinal twist, lengthening one leg out to the side, rolling that top hip over the bottom. Maybe hold that top knee. Stretching your shoulder blades across the ground. Release that and take it to the other side, please. And come back over onto your back. Knee into chest. Gentle massage across the low back, maybe circle those knees. Other direction. Make sure you've done both. Maybe draw your knees out wide, soles of feet together, butterfly pose. And letting that come down onto the ground. Just resting your hands on your belly. Get in touch with your breath. Soften into this, and then extend your feet out to the corners of the mat. So if you've got some time here, take a few minutes in Shavasana. Maybe reaching your arms above your head. Take some deep conscious breaths. If you have to get going with your day or back to work, I'll see you next time. Feel free to repeat this another time. Goodbye for now. And if you haven't subscribed, I would really appreciate if you did. Pretty simple, just hit the subscribe button. It will be either up above in that corner or down below. Thanks everybody, bye.